You got that?
All right. Good afternoon.
It's a good time to bring it up.
Yeah, we got it.
We're going to call the April 10th, 2017 Traffic and Parking Commission meeting to order. Okay. If you are not satisfied with a decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. I'm going to ask for an approval of the agenda, but the agenda needs to be slightly modified. Resolution on the consent agenda, item I has been previously approved and needs to be removed. And under old business, item number 1, we approved that at our December 2016 meeting. I think those are the only 2 items that need to be adjusted. So I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please.
So approved.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The agenda, revised agenda, has been approved. The minutes of the last meeting held March 13, 2017. Has everyone had a chance to review? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. Approval of the consent agenda. Please note that items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the Commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the Commission request that the item be removed from the consent agenda. The consent agenda for 04-2017 is Resolution 0417A, authorize a traffic signal on Old Hickory Boulevard at Hobson Pike. Item B, authorize a 3-way stop on Davidson Road at Davidson Drive. Item C, authorize an all-way stop on 46th Avenue at Illinois Avenue. D, authorize all-way stop on Walnut Street at Madison Boulevard. E, authorize stop on County Hill Road at Timber Place. F, modified speed limit on Eastwood Avenue between Ashwood Avenue and Alley 951 from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. G, modify valet stand hours on the north side of Union Street between 3rd Avenue and 3rd Avenue North and 4th Avenue North to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. H, authorize a valet stand on the east side of 3rd Avenue South, 100 feet south of Broadway, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In regards to the consent agenda, are there any items that a commissioner has? I has been removed. Are there any of these items that any member of the commission has questions or comments about?
I just had a question about number C. Is that the same as last month, or is that different?
Close. Indiana was last month.
Oh, right, Indiana, Illinois. Okay,
We're moving through the states. Okay. Any other items? If any comments from the audience concerning the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask for an approval of the consent agenda, and we'll ask for a hand vote.
So moved.
We have a first
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Okay. The consent agenda has been approved. Okay. Under old business, let me first ask, I see Ms. Johnson is here, member of the council. Are there any other members of the council? Ms. Bircher here. Okay. Sorry, I didn't recognize. So, okay, sorry. Didn't have a program, so I'm trying to identify everyone. So I understand that each of you has an item here on appeal. So we'll go through those items first before we go to the other items. We're going to go to old business item number 3, please. Appeal the denial of an all-way stop on Holder Drive at Castlegate Drive requested by Council Member Karen Johnson, District 29. Then we'll also do item 4, since you're here, too, Ms. Johnson. Appeal the denial of an all-way stop on Brantley Drive at Blue Water Drive, requested by Council Member Karen Johnson, District 29. Okay, Ms. Johnson, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Chair Green and esteemed members of the commission. Thank you for considering this request today. This stop sign was requested by the neighbors in the Castlegate neighborhood. And typically, when a stop sign doesn't meet many of the counts or the requirements for a stop sign, there obviously are other factors that have come into play that has led people to request that a stop sign be placed in a location. In this particular case, before I became a council person, there were, what do you call the white markings? What is it that what we put on the streets when?
Crosswalk or edge line?
No, when you pavement markings. Why didn't I think of that? I'm sorry. But anyway, the pavement markings that you see on Castlegate on each side of the street, those were put in by the neighborhood, well, they were requested by the Neighborhood Association to Public Works. One of the reasons why they asked for those was because there are a large number of senior citizens that live in this particular neighborhood. There is another way out from multiple streets that feed off of Castlegate. People can go and go down Smith Springs Road to get out of this particular community as well. But what they are asking for the stop sign at this particular location for is because, again, even though stop signs are not for the purpose of people using the street as a drag strip, this is a traffic calming street already because of those pavement markings. They've gone through that process, but their concern is, as senior citizens, they walk, a lot of them walk along Castlegate, and they feel as though because there's not a stopping point in between Castlegate and Anderson Road and Castlegate, well, there is no other stop sign along that long street. The next stopping point is the stoplight that's at Smith Springs and Castlegate. So there's nothing to stop people from endangering the senior citizens who walk a lot. I mean, it's a lot of them. This is a very senior area, and a lot of them walk daily. And so the request is because of the Neighborhood Association, those senior citizens that are in this area, they feel as though their safety would be improved if there is a stopping point midway on Castlegate Drive.
Chip, can you give us some background, please?
Good testimony. That's why we invite you council people here, because you know stories besides the numbers I'm about to spout out. Mm-hmm. And it's a formality on our part that when we see a difference in balance on the roadways, we want to come talk about it. And so you see 2,300 versus 345. I got it to be about an 87 to 13% split. My little book won't let me just give them a stop sign without hearing some other testimony here, and we're about to hear 2 others. So I'm not going to do this speech for every always stop, but it's the same thing. Look for the balance in volume, and if it's not between 40, 50, 60%, I bring it to you guys so we can hear some other stories. With volumes this low, and you'll see them from the other council people here, it's not going to be detrimental to put an all-way stop here. If you had a 10,000 to 100, you'd start seeing some backups and some horn honking and people running it. These are still relatively low volumes in the big picture, not a big controversy if we were to install it. And you'll see this same thing with the next 2 or 3 coming up. But I did want you to hear the testimony from the council people.
Any comments from commissioners, please? Yes, Captain.
If I could, I was a sergeant over there for many years over in the Hermitage, used to be Hermitage Precinct, I believe now it's
Yes,
South.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I remember you.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. And just to speak on what she was talking about, Castlegate area, not only are there seniors walking over there, but also we have a lot of people that are parking on the side of the roads. And running emergency, trying to get to someone's aid, it was very difficult because you didn't know if a person was going to pop out between some cars, or a dog, kid, bicycle, whatever would pop out. And it's a little bit difficult navigating that area. And if you would have a stop sign, it would slow down traffic. I know it doesn't seem like there's many cars going, but you have to look at the type of traffic that'll be going through there. And it's mostly people going residential and going home. And sometimes you need to slow down on your way home, because a lot of the times our crashes are on the way home. So just speaking a little bit on her, was that I noticed that there was a lot of vehicles parked on the side of the road, blind curves, and also limited sight while you're driving along that road. So a stop sign might slow it down a little bit, so we'd have less people that are injured on crashes.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, or do we have a motion to approve?
I think we just deferred this last month because the council wasn't here.
Well,
Is that it?
and our data was a little mixed up, and she was out of town maybe.
Yeah.
And so we deferred one month. Now, the next one coming up, our data is still bad. We talked about it. But
Well, on this one, Chairman, motion for approval.
Okay. We have a first and second on item 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. You have your
Thank
all-way
you.
stop,
Thank you.
Councilwoman. All right. On item number 4, this is the appeal, the denial of an all-way stop on Brantley Avenue at Blue Water Drive. Okay, please proceed, Ms. Johnson.
We are going to defer. Well, I request to defer this item. Public Works and Traffic is still working on the counts in this particular area. One of the reasons why, again, this was brought was because that street was converted to a traffic calming street. And thanks to Benny Word and the team for all of their work with that. And so where this stop sign is being requested is where people are coming down the hill, basically. So additional work needs to be done, and I want to get it right for this area. So I trust our traffic engineers, and we'll continue to let that process work, and they will consult back with me to give me information
yeah,
that has
our
developed from
collection
their
tubes came up,
findings.
and we didn't get good data. And I think we owe it to everyone involved to get good data before we make a decision.
Right.
Sorry, our tubes just popped up. And
That's okay.
So I think in this scenario, why don't we ask for an indefinite deferral, please?
What do
Okay.
y'all need?
we already we've got
It's
the,
no rush.
we got the count requested, but indefinite gives us any time length, whereas 1 month is pretty isolated to 1
Okay,
month.
motion for an indefinite deferral.
We have a motion, and we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Item's
Thank
been
you.
indefinitely deferred. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Tanaka Bircher, did I do your name correctly, please, ma'am? Okay, please do.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I am Councilwoman Tanaka Bircher, representing District 28.
Thank you.
I would like to begin by thanking you for the consideration of this appeal. This is at the request of numerous meetings with the Deborah Heights neighbors. The main concern for this neighborhood is the overall safety for the children. This area, we have 2 schools within close proximity of these 2 streets. What that means is that a lot of the neighborhood kids are walking on the streets. So the concerns for the neighbors is to slow the traffic down, make make drivers pause and create an environment so that they realize that we're basically increasing pedestrian safety and vehicular safety on these two streets.
Thank you, Ms. Bircher.
You're welcome.
Any comments? Chip, do you have some background to share with us, please?
Same song, different verse. It's just the ratio of, let me see what we have.
Yeah, the variable with this from Council Lady Johnson is that this is schools. This is a walkable neighborhood. We have lots of children that walks to their schools. The schools within close proximity is J.E. Moss and Apollo Middle Prep.
So 27 to 23, I just feel like I should bring it before everyone and present it. Low volume, same story.
All right. But we always were on the side of safety as well, so motion for approval.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. Councilwoman, your motion's been approved.
Deborah Heights neighbors will be ecstatic. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Council member, is it Swope? It is. Relates to item number 6, appeal to denial of an all-way stop on Trousdale Drive at Hill Road.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, council member.
Thank you very much for entertaining me this afternoon, and thank you very much for your service, all of you. I know you're a volunteer basis, and I know how that feels. This is real simple. I think Mr. Knopf will attest to this. There are people going 60 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone on Hill Road. Granbury Elementary is right around the corner for all intents and purposes. I got a lot of children, young children, at an elementary school that walk to school every day. We need to slow these people down. Most of them aren't residents of this area. They are passing through on Hill Road, Trousdale Road, cutting down from Harding and going into Nippers Corners and parts south. Shy of shooting their tires out, I can't stop that. But what I would like to do is stop them at Trousdale and slow them down a little bit.
Chip, could you provide background, please?
Yeah, this one's a little different, 81 to 19%, but the speeding, you see 49 there, that's combined. One side is around 40-ish, 42, but the other side, we clocked 60. And then we redid it because we thought we had an error in our data, and it came back at 58 or something like that. So obviously, there are some people going too fast out there. I'll take this opportunity to say this kind of thing is going to be really vamped up in Benny and Amy's new traffic calming program that we're putting together. Traffic calming in the past has been very few tools in the toolbox, right, Benny? We're expanding it with the new mayor and her administration. It's all about giving it back to the neighbors, the neighborhoods, and with help from the police department, we're going to bring issues like that more into a traffic calming program. But in this case, the stop sign is fine as far as I'm concerned.
Go ahead.
Oh, pardon me,
Yes.
Chairman. I just had a question for Chip about this one, because it is a little bit different. Did you look at the turning radiuses coming into this one? It really lends itself for cars to pull out quickly, and adding crosswalks and other improvements to the pavement markings at this location.
You mean with the new stop?
Yes, or, as sort of a first step, or.
Well, the first thing I thought about was a signal there, because you got a couple curves and you're coming around the curve as a stop sign, the right thing. And we may still come back to that with you. I don't know, but I'm not sure I'm following the question about the markings and stuff. But if we can if you say there's kids out there crossing and stuff, this would be the right place with an always stop to put a crossing.
Put a crosswalk too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just looked like these turning radiuses are really wide, and so it sets the car up to quickly make that turn.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Kind of reduce the radii a little bit, give them a harder turn to make.
Right. Even if it was just done with paint. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've done everything on that side of town. Put what the little buffers we put in the middle of the street on down the way to slow them down. And
we've tried lots of things, yeah.
Yeah, this is just
and we're in the process right now, if I may, and Mr. Ward's working with us on this. Mayor's office is absolutely involved in Public Works, doing a great job of looking at striping bike lanes on Hill Road Circle, on Hill Road, on San Marcos Drive, on that whole area back in there, because nobody wants speed bumps. And the streets are wide enough to be able to do bike lanes on both sides.
Okay.
Thereby avoiding having to build sidewalks, because nobody wants sidewalks. Actually, half of them do, half of them don't. So no sidewalks, which ultimately, if we can get a stop sign or an all-stop right here and do bike lanes on the whole rest of the area, I think it'll go a long way to slowing people down.
All right, Chairman, motion for approval.
We have a motion to approve. We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Council member, you have your always stop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Before proceeding to item 2, item number 7, remove the truck restriction on Couchville Pike. I think based on comments from staff, we're going to be asking for an indefinite deferral on this. So
Yes,
we
sir.
would like to have a motion for an indefinite deferral, please.
Move to defer.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. This item's been indefinitely deferred. Okay. Item number 2. Authorize residential permit parking on Carruthers Avenue from 12th Avenue South to 11th Avenue South. This has been deferred from the February 13th meeting. I understand there's several folks in the audience here to speak for and against. Am I correct? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. If you are here to speak against this, we'll ask you to go first. Keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, please. And be sure to introduce yourself when you step forward. So the public hearing is now open. Just right there.
My name is Michael Dolan. I'm here with Mafiosos and Five Daughters. Mafiosos on the corner of Carruthers and 12th Avenue South, and Five Daughters Bakery is on Carruthers, 1110. Again, I think, as I said at the last meeting, our concern is the eligibility requirements. We don't believe that they've been met under the Metro Statute 12-42030. Specifically, there's been no, and also under 12-42040, we have not seen any written report from the traffic engineer that weighs all of the eligibility requirements that are contained in the Metro Statute. And our chief concern is that we don't see anything from the chief engineer to the council that outlines a discussion of those factors, how they affect parking in the residents in this particular area, how it will affect the other streets adjacent to this street and in 12 South, as well as whether they meet the requirements under the guidelines under the 12 South Corridor Designated Neighborhood Design Plan that was put in place in 2008 and that we've been following for many years. The biggest concern we have is that the request, we don't believe that the eligibility requirements are met. There's been no discussion about the use by Midtown Fellowship, the church directly across from Carruthers on 12th, the Greater Christ Temple Church on the corner adjacent to 10th, right at the bottom of the designated area here. The impact on the restaurants, Mafiosos, Five Daughters, Urban Grub, et cetera, that were granted UZO protection, and which meant when they got there, they took on the responsibility. They were granted credit for on-street parking, which meant something to that investment criteria, and that was done many years ago and is still in place. Also, whether or not any other activities have been considered with respect to the use of the property. I think we'll find out from Public Works that every single house on this block has a driveway, garage, somewhere to park off street, and have no need for on-street parking for themselves. The only issue are guests, visitors, et cetera. So we simply challenge that we don't believe that the eligibility requirements have been met, and would urge the commission to require the traffic engineer to go through that process.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Okay. Is there anyone else here to speak against this? Okay. All right. If not, I know we have folks who are interested in speaking for the petition. Could you please step forward and state your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Carter. I live at 1109 Carruthers Avenue, and I've lived there for 18 years. This is the first petition that I have participated in the 18 years. As Mr. Dolan went over all the competition for the parking in our neighborhood, I have no problem with people parking in the street. The problem is people are parking in the street in front of my driveway, and that is my problem. And it was suggested at the last meeting, two things, that we fill in our driveways and have people make parking for everyone on the street, which is not keeping within the Constitution. We pay, I know for our house, we pay over $4,000 a year in taxes. So we have a right to be able to get into our driveways, that is my number one problem, is that people are parking in front of our driveways. The police are too busy to come and answer our calls to ticket people or tow people away. It was also suggested that we do off-alley parking. Well, crime has come up in our neighborhood within the past month of people being attacked in the alleys. Our neighbors across the street, there's two or three houses within, and we're talking about 5 houses that want residential parking. 5 houses on that whole street. And the people across the street don't have an alley. They have a school right behind them. So there's a lot of competition for places in our neighborhood. That's it. It's just people are blocking our driveway, and we can't function. That's it. And again, it's 5 houses, and if there is a study done, I would like a commitment from you all of what the timeline of that study is going to be. And if there's going to be another meeting, I would like a commitment to the meeting from that study that's going to be. Because the open-endedness is maddening. And I don't know what to do about. I know what I think I'm going to do about it, but I don't know what is proper and what's respectful. And I know that your job is hard, but we're talking about 5 homes that want this residential parking. The rest of the street does not want residential parking. It's not even an issue. They're renters. Some of the residents that live on that part of the street, because I went and talked to all of them, they said that they weren't interested. There's probably 2 houses out of 11 on the rest of Carruthers Avenue.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Wait a
it.
minute. I'd like to ask her one question, John.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed about the 5 houses. What are you talking about, 5 houses?
That's all that want residential parking.
Okay.
There's only 5 houses from 12th to 11th Avenue.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak for the petition? Okay. Seeing that, we will close the public hearing and seek comment from commissioners and staff.
I have a question. I noticed that the council person is in favor of this. So that's they're not, the council person isn't here, but there's a letter from Colby Sledge saying he does support the permit parking.
We do have the letter from the council person in support of it.
And is there anything else that staff wants to add about requirements?
Well, I do want to, don't be mad at me, but I do want to take a step back and make sure we do it the right way. If there's a question on the process and how, if we're following it correctly, I want to get with our legal advisor and dot all the I's and cross all the T's and make sure we have followed the code letter by letter. And that worries me a little bit. If that statement is out there that we didn't follow the process, that's what got us last time. So I don't want to make a decision if that's still in question. And I know you probably haven't seen it, Terry, so I'd like you to look at it.
I haven't seen the petition itself, no, not yet. I know that what you may be referring to was the statement about the eligibility requirements.
Right.
That Mr. Dolan made, which I think is a reference to 1242.030 of the code. And it says that and these are for the chief traffic engineer to take into consideration. A is the extent of the desire and the need of the residents for residential permit parking and their willingness to bear the administrative costs in connection therewith. B is the proximity of the neighborhood to major parking attractors, including employment centers, retail stores, restaurants, universities, hospitals, and tourist attractions. C is the scarcity of convenient off-street parking for residents. D is the extent to which motor vehicles registered to persons residing in the residential area cannot be accommodated by the number of available off-street parking spaces. E is the substantial use of neighborhood curb space by commuters and other non-residents for parking. And F is traffic noise and safety problems caused by the vehicles cruising for parking. Then the next section after that, 1242.040, spells out the process for the petition and the response to it by the commission.
I would ask if we are going to defer this, my concern is this sounds like a real safety issue, hearing from the residents. And if we're going to defer this, can we do this with the understanding we'll try to vote next month, or is that enough time, Chip?
Yeah, 1 month deferral. Amy worked on a study out there in the past, and Benny, and we'll dust that off, update it, and get with you, Terry, and follow the procedures. Until then, there are codes in place about blocking driveways and mailboxes that maybe for the next month y'all could step it up a little bit or something.
I've already gotten my notes to contact Commander Loki and let her know of the issues that you guys are having over there.
But, I mean, you know, I'm real concerned when you hear a taxpayer saying there's a safety problem, you know, that we react as quickly as we can about making things safer for our taxpayers.
In the past, when we've had this kind of conflict, Villa Place at Taco Mamacita always comes back to our meeting notes. We negotiated a residential parking with a 1 or 2 hour non-residential window. I don't know if anybody's even interested, but we will present that to you guys as maybe something on the table. You were waving. Did you, John? Are you opening? Can you?
We've closed the public hearing, so we're going to.
Let me ask you a question.
With
I think mine is going to be legal again. Was it 3 years or 4 years ago we went through this, and then Mr. Dolan sued us after we made a decision on this. And, you know, it's frustrating because, you know, we heard statements about, well, just park in the alley, but no one buys a home and pays $4,000 of taxes to park coming to home from an alley. And obviously when they bought the home in that neighborhood years ago, no one purchased a home between 10th and 12th with hopes of doing that. So I heard him make the statement, which seems to be the legal challenge we had last time, and that's the process issue.
Well, I don't think it's the exact same challenge. I think there were some different procedural issues with the prior petition than there are. The only thing I heard him mention just now was the eligibility requirements not being met.
All right, Commissioner Brown.
John, you know, being a former councilman, I don't think there's anyone that knows any more about the district than he does. And he has a letter here that he's in favor of it. So that tells me he's done his homework and the neighbors. But as John and I were talking earlier, I don't believe there's anyone that buys a home, unless it's a condo or apartment or whatever, to buy a single family home that doesn't have a driveway to get in and out. And to ask these folks that's paying this kind of money to park in the alley, I just don't think we're being fair to them.
I agree.
Can I add, though? I am curious because it sounds like the concern is less about parking in the alley based on the testimony and more about blocked driveways. And so I do wonder whether or not this is the right tool for the problem. And so are there, if we're going to come back next month, are there other engineering solutions besides just enforcement? Is there some way to prevent alleys from being blocked besides having the police there every single day, and besides a residential parking permit? Because I do wonder whether or not this is the appropriate
I do too.
solution to the challenge in front of us.
Especially when we heard that some people do want it, some people don't want it, but the main concern is blocking my driveway and mailbox or whatever. Yeah, is this the right tool? I want to make sure we get this one right. We've kind of juggled this for years, and some people aren't going to be happy with the outcome, some people will, but we got to at least do it the right way.
Captain, can you speak to the enforcement mechanism available to citizens with blocked driveways, or is this a legal issue? It may be a legal issue as well, but this seems to be a pertinent point.
No problem. Speaking to parking, of course, the citizen can call the police, and we'll come out there and we'll ticket and tow as need be. Also, just speaking from my neighborhood, where I live out in Hermitage, I do believe that there was signage put up because we had one house that was party issue, basically directing where people were supposed to park, and you couldn't park past the sign, which is an option. Also, I remember last time that we visited this issue, there was a concern that we came up with the alternative of having another surface lot. And I don't know if that worked or not, was to have, because this is just going to continue, because this is a booming area with people moving and restaurants moving here, and people need somewhere to park. Maybe some signage at the businesses stating don't use the streets. I mean, sometimes, I hate to say it, 30-day rule, every 30 days you have to remind someone, don't do that. You have new people coming into restaurants, and maybe it's a great idea to have that, or even have signage put on 12th. Saying don't park on the side streets. I mean, other cities use that. So that might be something that we could possibly use in order to alleviate some of these homeowners not being able to get into their driveways. And also, parking is of second concern to me when I hear that there's violent acts going on in the alleyway, and that's why I said I would contact Commander Loki at Midtown, because unfortunately, I'm in special operations, I'm over traffic, and I don't have a specific part of the city that I'm responsible for, but I'll contact Commander Loki and let her know of the concerns over there, and I'm sure she has her detectives and flex officers working in that area in order to stop those crimes, but I just want to let you know that I want to make sure that I get that taken care of and get that communicated to Commander Loki. But that's the only thing I can think of, sir. Besides, it might be a good idea at a neighborhood association to hire a tow truck company and move vehicles if it's behind your house.
Chair, are we talking about from 12th to 10th, that entire?
Yeah.
It is only 12th to 11th.
From 11th
to 12th.
to 12th.
5 houses.
There's 5, are you saying there's 5 houses total on that block?
There's 5 houses.
So we're talking about 5 homes for a restaurant, a business that is up on 12th Avenue. I just have a problem with us debating a restaurant that is on 12th Avenue with individuals that live in a neighborhood that is, off of that. I mean,
But there's also, we've got that 5 Daughters that has the entrance up there on Carruthers. And just to give you additional information, we would not install any of these residential permit parking signs in front of any of these businesses.
I guess I just want to reiterate again, I'm really concerned about the safety, in the neighborhood, and encouraging people to live in Nashville. And, I think I would have a real hard time calling a tow truck as an individual to do that. I would not be real comfortable with somebody coming back and knocking on my door and saying, if you tow my car. So my experiences with tow trucks has not been a lot of fun as a business owner. So I wouldn't encourage a resident, anybody, to have to do that. But I'm concerned about us deferring and deferring and deferring if people are telling us this is a safety issue. I mean, so I would like to request that we have a definite time that we can tell the council person and everyone here we've gone through the process and we're going to vote up or down on this.
If I wouldn't, ma'am, if you don't mind, tow trucks, when you call a tow truck, they really What they do is work with the person who's called them, and that's all they do is take the vehicle, and whoever owns the vehicle is the one that has to deal with the tow truck driver and the fees. It's not like you're standing outside and you confront someone and call a tow truck driver. So a tow truck is an option. They also put boots on cars. I mean, it's an option. It's just something that the neighborhood association probably needs to be aware of.
Okay.
It might not be the safest option, I guess that's what I'm saying.
I've had experience with tow trucks, and it can be less than a stellar experience. So, okay. Chip, there any staff recommendations at this point?
I'm going to recommend a 1-month deferral. We will do some driveway treatments. I don't want to sign your neighborhood to death, but there might be some markings we could put out there to keep people from blocking the driveway. And with your enforcement, we reconvene in a month. We'll get with Metro Legal during this next month, and let's all see if we could maybe magically do not block driveway things work. But I just want us to kind of at least meet in the middle. Give us 1 more month is what I'm asking.
So is that something that Metro Legal will meet beforehand, and you all have time to come with us with like a presentation? Here's A to Z, what we've learned from the questions raised.
I was going to put together an engineering report with Amy and Benny and present it to legal, not here. And then you give us your recommendations and corrections and redline it and all that stuff.
And then at our meeting, then we hear what the two of you all have come together. Thank you.
I mean, obviously, I will defer to staff in terms of matters of engineering expertise, but I can certainly look at the petition and look at the report in terms of, whether it appears that all the provisions in the code are met or included.
All right, so based on,
better word.
Yes, Commissioner Brown.
John, next month, to be fair with this gentleman, his business, the residents, we don't need to draw this out any longer. Next month, we need, and the commissioners, we need to vote this up or down to be fair with these people.
All right. I would suggest that we make a motion for an indefinite deferral, that it also has some stipulations in it about what staff will do prior to the next meeting, which staff has articulated. And that way we get on the record what we're planning to do. So is there such a motion from a commissioner, please?
So moved.
Indefinite?
I thought we just agreed we were going to do this next month.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
With staff recommendations on a plan of action relating to trying to see what could be done to prevent driveways from being blocked and the additional enforcement.
So I make a motion that we vote on this next month.
Defer it 1 month.
Defer it.
If you want to call it 1 month or indefinite, I'll be back next month, and I don't think I have a choice.
Second of 1 month.
I would think if it's going to be more than a month, it'd be fair to the parties to know, but.
Okay, so there's a motion for a 1-month deferral, and there will be a staff report.
Second.
As part of that deferral. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right. I guess we'll see everyone again next month. Thank you. All right. Before we adjourn, I got a quick question to ask staff. That's been removed.
It was.
Okay. I understand, I know it's in my neighborhood, but I don't know if it's happened in other neighborhoods. There's been some test pilots of some traffic circles, and I don't know where else that may be going on, but not that I want to spend a lot of time on this because I know we've had a long meeting, but maybe at the next meeting we can have some feedback and discussion about that.
Okay, yeah, 15th and Elmwood, is that right? Yeah, neighborhood, very proactive, came to us with a plan. We reviewed their plan, we collected before data, and we want to make sure we collect during data. And so, again, we're getting these neighborhoods more involved. We're putting them to work, or they're putting us to work, one or the other. And so Amy was the project manager for that. If you've got some detailed questions, see her after or whatever.
Okay. So
we're going to do more of that.
So there are some more neighborhoods that are also looking at this as well. Is that correct?
Yes, but the neighborhood they're the trajectory we need. They're the people getting us to do it. If you come to us, I'll get you with Amy, and we'll put it together.
And then one final question. I know several months ago we approved the walkability districts, and I think it was 6 months supposed to be a study. So could you refreshing a memory of when that study date will be completed? Just real quickly, Ms. Birch, please.
Sure. Amy Birch, and yes, I believe it was the February meeting where we presented the walkable districts in 3 neighborhoods across the county. And so since that meeting, since presenting it to this body, we've been putting together the plans. Just last week, we were trying to finalize the sign design that would be used in all the walkable districts, and I think we're looking to roll out the implementation in the next few weeks, and then the study period, the 6 months will begin, and the study will be done in the fall when school resumes.
Great. Well, thank you. All right. Do any other commissioners have any comments for the good of the group? Excuse me for taking a point of order. So
Real quick.
Yes,
Sorry, I haven't seen you guys in a couple of months. Been working really hard, but before our calendars all get caught up, on May 20th at McGavock High School from 12 to 3, we'll be having our Special Operations Division open house. We will be having a traffic safety seminar, canine demonstration, SWAT demonstration, drill and ceremony team demonstration. We're really focusing on safety, bicycle, pedestrian safety. So we're inviting the whole commission to come out. Last year we had several people come out there, and they pretty much enjoyed it. I believe Walk Bike Nashville, we're in talks with them to come out there. So.
Yes, although this year that's the Tour de Nash, so we'll be all riding our bikes.
But we're working on traffic safety, but just.
Great.
all right. Thank you. Does any other commissioners have any comments? Otherwise, Captain?
We're going to stay? No, we're adjourned. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, one and all. See everyone May 8th.
I told Rolly and Martha that they were.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.